And welcome back in, and I have a very special guest. It is Mark Furman, and Mark is here to talk about a very special event that we've got going on here at UPMC Park on Friday, July 5th. That night, the Seawolves host the Akron Rubber Ducks, and we are hosting a special fundraiser for Mark's grandson, Jonah. Now, Jonah is 7 years old, correct?
Yes.
Jonah has been dealing with a tough time. He underwent a heart transplant on Easter, actually, of this year.
Exactly.
So I want you to take me through when you guys found out. How did you guys find out that Jonah, because that's not a common thing for kids.
No.
How did you guys find out that he actually needed a transplant?
So his mom had a heart transplant 23 years ago.
Okay.
And at the time they said it wasn't genetic. They weren't right. And so Jonah was going to a Taekwondo tournament, walking up a hill by Penn State Barron. All of a sudden he clutches his chest and turns white. And it's like, what is that? So Lindsay, my daughter, went to her pediatric cardiologist to get him checked out. He's like, this shouldn't be anything. Don't worry about it. Well, come to find out, he had the same exact disease that she had.
And what was the disease?
It's called restrictive cardiomyopathy.
Okay.
And if you've ever heard of someone having an enlarged heart,
Yes.
this is the opposite.
So from the time that you guys found out that he would need a transplant, what was that wait time?
So he was life flighted to the Cleveland Clinic on November 26th, and he and his parents moved up to Cleveland, obviously, to live there. And he got his heart on Easter, so it was roughly 4 months that they lived waiting for a heart transplant.
What is that like for the family? And you guys are very close, clearly, and you've got Jonah's journey to expand on, and that's your grandson. What was going through your minds? Obviously, it happened to your daughter,
Right.
and now it's happening to your grandson. So just take us through the mental side of that.
Yeah. So it's so unusual. Jonah's room was right next to my daughter's room when she was there. So it was just surreal, right? When you're in the middle of that, there's not a day that you wake up and say, oh, this is the day, right? And you look around and there's all kinds of other kids that are waiting for transplant, and you want everyone to reach the goal.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's just a very tight-knit community of people that you get very close to. But we never walked in that hospital with dread. There was always a purpose. I mean, Jonah had literally 3 minutes to live. When he went into cardiac arrest, if they had waited 3 more minutes, he would have died. So for him to have survived that is just unbelievable. The doctor said it's a miracle that his dad was able to revive him.
So his dad was the one who actually revived him at the tournament?
No, this was at home.
This was at home.
Yeah.
Okay, getting ready to go to the Taekwondo tournament. Was there ever a time, whether it was, just human nature for either your daughter or your husband or for you guys, where doubt creeps into your mind that maybe this isn't going to happen for Joe?
No.
Okay.
No, that's just not a thing.
Scratch that question.
That's not a thing.
How dire was it that he get the transplant? Because sometimes you hear stories where, a person needs a transplant and they might have 2 years to get that done. What was, in Jonah's case specifically, what was the timetable and how quickly did they say he's going to need this by XYZ date?
Yeah, so this is really hard to explain, but so 2 months before he went into cardiac arrest, he had been tracked for several months.
Okay.
All right? They were doing tests, heart catheterizations, all that kind of stuff. And they gotten enough data points that we met them literally 2 months before he went in, he was life-flighted. And the doctor said, hey, he's got the disease. He has this restrictive cardiomyopathy. I don't think he's going to need a transplant for several years. All right. So this is going to be a slow progression. It's like, okay, go live your life.
Sure.
2 months later, he's in cardiac arrest. And at that point, they looked at us and was like, he can't go home. Wow. Can't go home. All right. Because this arrhythmia is so unpredictable that what made it even more incredible is my daughter was insistent that Cleveland send them a heart monitor. She put that on him 2 days before he went into cardiac arrest. And when they saw the data, I just read the report this morning, ironically, it was like, it's a 10% chance of survival.
So tell me about COTA. It's the Children's Organ Transplant Association.
Right.
And I didn't know this myself, the amount of money that it takes, not only to get transplants done, but it's the post-transplant, and for the rest of Jonah's life, he's going to have to deal with it.
That's correct. So to give you an idea, for Lindsay, we raised $150,000 for her transplant and post-transplant care.
Okay.
Every one of those dollars has been used for medical, right? And so it's a huge number. And just as an example, they received a bill for the life flight. Guess how much?
I'm going to say 30,000
times 3.
Wow.
Okay. So
And that's not something insurance covers.
So they're still. I mean, that happened in November. They're still negotiating.
Okay.
All right. But they got a bill from them for the $98,000. Insurance covered 8 of it. So $90,000 is sitting there,
Wow.
as a possible liability, right? So it's just between that, the ongoing, for example, Jonah got his heart Easter. He's already had 3 heart catheterizations, all right, since then, because they go in, they have to actually get samples of the heart inside, and they put him under a microscope to see if he's in rejection. And they have to do that every month, then every 2 months, then every quarter, you know what I'm saying?
So this is something that he's going to have to continue to monitor throughout his life.
Correct.
Yeah. What's his mindset throughout this whole thing?
It's amazing. I was just reading a report, the doctor's original admission report when he was life flighted. And, you're looking at all the technical stuff, and it says patient seemed pleasant to his caregivers and family. He's in the middle of a crisis, okay? And he's just such a sweet kid. And give you an idea, once he got his heart, 2 days afterwards, he's in the ICU. He's got 10 tubes hooked up to him. He said, I want to get up. He's like, okay, we'll get you to your chair. No, I want to walk. It's okay, we have a little hall. No, I want to walk. And so he walked 300 feet. He went back to his old room, visited the nurses. And then 2 days later, he was released from the intensive care to the step-down unit. And they brought a wheelchair. And he looked at him and said, 0% chance that I'm going to be in that wheelchair.
How does that make you guys feel, though, as the family?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we touched on the mental strain of all of this, but that's got to inspire you that this kid who is 7 years old in a fight for his life, and he's got a smile on his face. He wants to get up out of that bed. He wants to walk.
Absolutely. And just so you know, Jonah knows every single thing that happened. All right. His mom and dad sat him down and said, Jonah, you died. Your heart stopped for 3 minutes, and your dad revived you. And he looked up at his dad and said, you saved my life.
Wow.
And so he has this knowledge of everything that's happened, and yet it hasn't brought him down in the slightest. And I asked him, I said, what's the one thing you want to do when you come home after you got your transplant? I want to run. I want to run. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing. So we have the event here on July 5th. Tell us about how people can support Jonah's journey.
Yeah, thanks. So we're so excited to be partnering with your Seawolves, of course, and it's awesome what you guys are doing. So we have digital flyers that are on Facebook, different social media platforms. QR code is there. If you scan it, that'll earmark that ticket as being in for Jonah's journey. And as maybe the audience isn't aware of it, half of that ticket sale is going to go towards COTA for Jonah's journey, which is amazing.
That is awesome. So, folks, get your tickets. It is Friday, July 5th. Post-game fireworks presented by Little Dance Studio, and help this wonderful family out as they raise funds for Jonah's journey. Go to their website, Little Dance Studio, correct?
Yep.
You can find the information there. You can find the information on our social media. Get your tickets for that night. Scan the QR codes. Help out. Let's get them to that $350,000. Mark, thank you very much for coming on with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.